In a few moments, you will have an experience which will seem completely real. It will be the result of your subconscious fears transformed to your conscious awareness. You have 5 seconds to terminate this tape. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, everybody? Thanks again for joining us for another We Are So Back Wednesday, another BG-Cast Wednesday live podcast. Man, I've been having one hell of an interesting week, and we're going to get into why this week has been so interesting once we bring my guest on. But first, I would love to say thanks for everybody who has just followed the channel and subscribed over on Rumble and YouTube. Thanks for joining the BG-Cast family. I love to see everybody coming over and hanging out and having a great time. Of course, you know, here on BG-Cast, we learn together. And that is the premise here. And, you know, we're all going through this very strange, unknown, and uncharted territory for this batch of humanity at this point in time. And what better way to do it than go through it together, guys, of course. But nonetheless, I first want to talk about a couple of sponsors. And I have a little promotion that I want to do. And guys, you already know about Divine Creation Gifts. Like I said right here, guys, this is how we bring New Earth into fruition. We support small businesses in our community, local homegrown businesses, okay? And we support each other and we lift each other up. So guys, go check out Divine Creation Gifts. It is a homegrown metaphysics shop out of West Virginia. They got everything you need from crystals, some apparel, some apothecary stuff, and some tools and supplies, such as little ritual books and things like that. But please, will you help support this homegrown business? Because this is how New Earth starts, guys. This is how we do it. We start supporting each other as a community. All right. And let me get to my next sponsor. Guys, you remember David the Lion. He's been on this show multiple times, but I am dubbing David the Lion the beginner, the starter of New Earth Entertainment. I highly recommend you check out David's comic book series. You check out his short film. It won Best Director at the New York Film Festival. He is bringing to light a lot of high frequency content. He is bringing entertainment that is not trying to brainwash you, not trying to initiate you. His link tree is undergoing maintenance, but I do have the link to his X and everything in both the Rumble and the YouTube description. But he is creating original entertainment, guys, that is high frequency, not laden with propaganda, not trying to silently initiate you into some kind of dark frequency, okay, like we see a lot of these TV shows and movies trying to do these days. So guys, go please check out David the Lion. Check out his movie. Check out his comic series. You can get the comics on Kindle as well. But, you know, I would go ahead and get the comic book, man. It is pretty sweet. It looks like this limited first edition that I don't even want to open and fucking read because it looks so beautiful. I'm being serious. I read it on Kindle, and, you know, I haven't opened the actual comic because I want to keep it in mint condition because I know one day this is going to be an amazing thing. And last but not least, guys, you know me. I don't hop on just any bandwagon. All right, but I want to talk to you about Independent Media Token real quick. What is Independent Media Token? Well, this is actually the first cryptocurrency that I've even invested my mind in. Actually, the producer for my network, Corey Hughes, is the creator and the founder of this cryptocurrency. And it is a brand new way to show your support for independent media without having to donate a dime. Independent Media Token is a cryptocurrency on the Solana blockchain designed to generate funds to promote and foster the growth of independent content creators. And this is how we support each other up and we lift each other up as a community, guys. We can now have our own currency to use amongst ourselves. allowing them to engage in their art without having to worry about being demonetized. Through a network of media partners, of which you yourself can become part of, Independent Media Token's goal is to ensure that the powers that be can never cut off all of our areas of funding and censor the only free voices left in this world. Join the movement today. Pick up Independent Media Token using Phantom Wallet or the Solana wallet of your choice, where you can easily swap your Solana for IMT. Grab some IMT today, and remember to, excuse me, always know your team. So, guys, here is the IMT X page. Man, that was weird. A little bit of a cough came up. So, guys, and there's also independentmediatoken.com, but give it a look out, man. Yes, I am actually investing in this stuff. And you guys know me. I don't just hop on any bandwagon. This is pretty sound, and I've been watching it increase in value as the days go by. So shout out to Don, shout out to Michelle, shout out to Nick, shout out to Maya, shout out to Della, shout out to everybody in the audience. And man, something must not like what's about to happen here. But nonetheless, I want to introduce you to my guest. This man is not only a down-home friend, he is quite literally who I call the Chuck Norris of hyperspace. Yes, he does not go to the machine elves for information. He goes to the machine elves and he stares them down until he gets the information that he wants. He is a spiritual badass. And one of the reasons I respect him oh so much is his championship mentality when it comes to spiritual healing. So nonetheless, man, let me bring to the stage Mr. Frankie Fearless, Frank Castle.
My
what is
brother.
Up? How are you tonight? How's it going? Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing me out on the show. Get ready for the high frequency. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Fearless family, Jermaine Man, the Sorcerer Supreme. And we're ready to deep dive tonight. Steve, we've been having some mega things happening to us. And just the few minutes we talked right before the show. I mean,
absolutely.
Deep dive. We don't even call it a deep dive. We just go to where the river flows with us. And it's very high frequency. I had said earlier, I had to actually raise my frequency earlier to match you so we can balance the show properly. And I haven't had to do that in a long time, and I love it. Right? It allows me to go, oh yeah, remember ground and do this and do, and I go through my little bit and it just right up. And I'm like, wow, that was easy. We can do this. We could do this. And the answer was, you're already doing it. Look what you did. I'm like, oh, like this needs to be celebrated.
I'm honored, man. I'm honored. No, seriously. It's been a very interesting week for me, as I know it has been for you. And let's start this off right, man. And and I think, of course, this is something that you and I, man, I don't know what's going on with me tonight. Something is not happy right now, but this is one of the reasons you and I vibe so well. And it's why I have a world of respect for you and I said it in the intro when I was talking with you, you take a championship mentality when it comes to your inner work. Like, dude, you sit there and you walk in to your closet full of skeletons, man. And no matter how piled high it is, you freaking throw your gloves on. You throw your safety goggles on, you throw on the freaking suit, and you pull up your boots, man. And you're like, let's get to work, man. Let's get this done. And honestly, this is a mentality that I think this whole entire community needs to take when it comes to their inner work and healing themselves. Because something that both you and I have come to learn in our evolutions and all of the work that we've done is the more that you heal yourself, the more you cleanse your being and you open yourself up to these higher layers of remembering and these higher frequencies. it's almost like removing what I would say like a 600-pound weight vest of the physical density off of you, man. So let's kind of dive into that real quick. I want you kind of to emphasize the importance of this, man.
Well, you can't take any of it with you. And the eye of the needle is where we're headed, right? The singularity. So you can't have on that 650-pound backpack. It can't come. However, people always think the spirit world or the characters are taking or giving something to them, right? It's just the blocks that are in the way they're helping you remove so you can do the things you do, right? So you're not losing anything except the stuff you don't need. See, I ran into it like, oh, you're going to take my memories? They're like, no. Why would we take your memory? You're about to come online. It's so important that you remember right now. It's the great remembering. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. So I'm like, so you're just telling me I should rip these layers off and go through that right there because I can't fit with the cocoon still wrapped around me. And they're like, yeah, you got to let it go, but you got to look at it first. You got to really see what matters. And I always say to them, this is the psychedelics. I'll say, well, let's do what's important first. And then if we have time, can we, and I have like a little checklist of a couple of questions, and I'll say what's really relevant in any of that stuff. And if nothing, show me something relevant. So then I can just not be a know-it-all and look in on everything and just enjoy how deep it is they take me. But it has not always been easy, and it's not easy. It gets easier. Trust me, it does get easier, but it gets more intense. Things change, and when it gets light and the powerful and the spirit turns on, your abilities will make you shake, just like fear will make you shake. It has to integrate into you. So you can't have all these extra weights and things around you. So it's like memories that have been compressed over time from other lifetimes, even karma that was collected. They sent us down to we sent ourselves to the densest realm reality, period. Right? That's why I call the bottom layer just the pit. It's like a black void, but it has a floor. Send me there. Let me work my way from the pit back up here. So by the time I get to my abilities and anything remotely close to that spiritually, I've had life lessons, but now I have to remove some of that negative. So we face down. My wife says it really good. She goes, every time we do psychedelics, it's like you're a coil because nothing's touching, right? So you're just you like spring open like a slinky, and then all of the stuff that was collected, that's debris, is being wiped away, and all the things you don't need anymore, programs, etc., lifetimes, trauma. Once you face it down, oh, that happened, that's terrible, I'm sorry, I love me, I love you, okay, next, boom, move on. And it cleans this out, and then all of a sudden this cleans out. You start to feel lighter. It was more light, and then lighter because there's less stuff that's collated or coalesces inside of that density. It's making you thick and heavy. You release it and you start to feel good. And that's a feeling you begin to chase, right? And you don't have to chase it. It's not on the other side of the world. It's not in the hand of Buddha. It's not on the top of some mountain. Maybe that's where it'll happen for you. But I can sit right here and all of that's mine. It's a birthright, like we were saying earlier.
It definitely is
my birthright. I take my birthright.
Well, no, it definitely is, man. And you laid it out so well. And it's in my eyes, it's one of the, I know it's not easy. We know it's not easy. It can be downright painful at times. It's almost like, like I remember telling you one time about, the sitting in the fire meditation that I have when I was cleansing myself, man. And like, it's like quite literally walking through the fire when you're doing this healing. But here's the thing about this fire is also you. This is the highest aspect of yourself, and it is helping you clean yourself. It is helping you cleanse this trauma, this darkness, everything that you developed from this whole slew of experiences that led you up to this single point. And it is. And I almost want to say it's a fire of love. Now, here's the thing about love. Love is tough sometimes. You know what I mean? Love is not always, rainbows, unicorns, and Laffy Taffy and all of that. It's not always, oh, bliss, dude. Love can be tough at times. And, and one thing I kind of want to pick your brain about, we have a quick question from the audience real quick. So we have the Earth Grid Rescue Mission. I've read our memory shield being deactivated created karma. Any thoughts, Stephen and Frank?
So, would that just be your aura? Let's try to bring it together a little bit, because my aura bubble inside, when I see it, has everything of me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it used to be weak because of diet, parasites, bad living, really crappy attitude towards things, no spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of other factors. Electronic saturation puts holes and dents in it. And then you not being focused on it makes you unaware that it's even there. But as that activates and comes online, it is the story of you is logged inside of that. And the shields go up and go on. They become impenetrable.
And no, I like how you explained that. She said she chimed in and said she's read early work from Ashiana Dean. She thinks it's another layer. And but the one thing I want to talk to you specifically about, and I think you're really going to love this, is actually, so I have a friend who actually just had I want to say it was either 2 or 3 of her first entheogenic experiences. They were mushrooms, and she has verbatim said that she died over and over again. And she died and came back to life over and over again. And she felt, that they were very intense and kind of almost like initiative experiences that she had.
Yeah.
And, part of me, is like, well, you're obviously a natural born shaman if they gave you the initiations right out of the gate. But what this kind of highlights for me is the aspect of the healing. And when we use these medicines for healing, it's not always going to be a lovey-dovey light experience. Sometimes you're going to be shown the deepest, darkest depths of yourself. And you're going to be faced with, maybe some not so great things that you've been kind of shoving in the back. So I kind of want to ask you, man, because of your experience, and how experienced you are in this, when these situations come about, what is the best thing for somebody to do?
Okay,
we are being shown that.
I've been shown and have been involved with the weirdest things, which is how I got the Fearless moniker, becoming fearless, is because I've seen it. The gore, where they just take people, they clone them, they change them, they operate on them, they eat them, they have sex with them, they set them on fire, they put us on crosses, they stick us in caves, they wrap us like mummies alive and throw us behind a wall and just close the wall. Your entire bloodline gone. Right? These are intense things. You can do nothing under psychedelics except breathe and center yourself. You can, through will and determination, bring yourself out of it by understanding what you're actually doing. Like, what did I do? What did I do? I did this so I can heal myself. There's no such thing. Like, Source wouldn't show me something I don't need to see and deal with. There is none of that. That doesn't exist. So if you're seeing it, you're responsible to the thought of it. And it's your responsibility to understand, okay, I'm witnessing events that are me. It's hard to do that in that moment, but I take deep breaths and I go, okay, all right, you too, that as well, because I can't do anything. Ayahuasca will tell me, you can watch the whole thing, but at no point could you get involved. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then during the event, I'm watching, like, they had abducted Paula, and they were forcing her to have children, and they had her in one of those pods or something, and they at the 3-month point they would pull it, put her back, and put another one in, put her back at home. 3 months later, pick her up, put her back in the thing, and pull it out, and they would grow the rest in the lab. So 14 times this happened. So I walked over. There was a reptilian, a mantis, a gray, and they're all like looking at me. They start looking at me, and all these grays come out, and they start like everyone's staring at me. And the reptilian goes, "Oh, don't worry, he can't do anything when he's like that." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll come over there and I'll slap that smile right off your face." And Aya was like, "You cannot. First of all, you can't. You're watching something that occurred already." But I'm like, "But they can see me." They're like, "You're in the now moment. But you cannot physically walk over there and grab one of them. It won't work. It's not going to happen." So you learn to, well, this is what I did. I started picking their minds immediately, not living in fear because I had been abducted so many times, where I started getting used to seeing these creatures around me. I didn't freak out. So if I'm not in fear, I start picking out my surroundings, the entire scenario. Are we on a ship? Are we underground? Who else is here? What can I affect in this scenario? What are they doing? And I found out they were taking and making all these characters, and then none of them looked good. They all looked like there was a mistake in the creation. Big head, the eyes, like nothing was really beautiful to me. And I'm standing there looking, and I realize that at some point they're gonna be like, "Oh, your kids, these are yours." And I'm like, "Oh, whoa. You don't get to abduct her or me and take our DNA, create these things, and then pop back up years later like, oh, here's your space children. You don't get to do that to us.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to create." And this is what I said to them. So you can't affect it. I was like, "You know what the problem is with you guys? You keep abducting people. We are source. The reason why it's not working is because we're not agreeing to it. Pretty simple."
Exactly.
She's the nicest woman in the world. If you ask her to help you, she would help you.
100%.
She would help you, and it would work. But it won't work when you steal from source and think, "Oh, I just stole from this lowly human character," which obviously is not lowly human because you need everything we got. This is why I'm so fearless with the event, with everything.
Of course.
Dude, Steve, it's all here for us. All the deception, all the clues, all the thinking down the rabbit holes, all the distractions, the disruptions, the nonsense, the games. It's all here to distract source from realizing its source. Plain and simple. Okay, how powerful are you then? Pretty powerful if this is all here for you.
100%, dude.
Okay, so I know that, right? Inside and out. So when I'm presented with these things, these quandaries, I figure it out. I get in there and I'm like, "Listen, I'm source. Obviously, my higher self wants me to see, oh, what are you doing right there?" And I get them. Right? This is how I would inject myself into things. And they're like, "Oh, you're not bothered by that. Let's try this." And I know the other side, whoever our people are, test the physical strain on our body by making it get closer and closer to a hug and a handshake. For real. Like, oh, he just walks in the room and goes, "Hey, what's up, man?" And you're like, "Hey, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Knock next time." Because I made the mistake of saying I'm ready one day, and they said, "Okay, open your eyes." And I just turned, and there was an iguana man. I talk about that, I laugh, but he was in like a Federation outfit, but he was an iguana, 100% man. And he looked at me and he just went, "What's up?" And his mouth didn't move. I heard him loud and clear in my head. And I went, "Oh." And then they go, "Oh, you're not ready. You can't make that face. You're not supposed to do that." And I'm like, I'm standing by the front door in a basement apartment with people under ayahuasca in 2 different rooms. And then I'm having a good time myself, but I'm also watching that nobody's coming in and nobody even knocks. I just open my eyes, and on the other side of the door, he's right next to me. I felt him breathing. I seen him move, all the little wigglies on him. And I was like, "Oh," and they go, "You're not ready. You can't make that face. We want you to be stoic." Of course. Welcome, greetings. That's what we want from you. Can you provide that? And I'm like, yeah. After I just had 62 heart attacks, you know, one of the first things I did for me too, I had a big experience where 48 times she made me experience death. I stopped counting at 48. I was laughing by the end. It was not a big deal. And this is why we don't fear death, because we don't really understand it. Like it was like this, boom, down, done. They were showing me horror, the worst horror you can imagine to a person. They're like, the soul is pulled before that occurs. Look, that person's standing right there. And I'm like, wait, but why is the body moving? They're like, that's the AI in the body.
Interesting.
We'll pull, if they're going to torture and kill you and unalive you, we pull it. We're here. Like, nope. There's only so much we can do, but at some point we can, if it's at if a certain levels hit here, a certain level could be hit here, because we are in both sides. So if this side decides to take it to that level in extreme, the other side can now make a move against that. It's a chess battle.
There's a reciprocative, and I've been noticing that too, because this is something I want to bring up too. First thing I want to say though, hold on, let me write that down. So before we go in that direction, one of the things I've noticed in my experiences, man, guess what? I've caught them flying up in the fucking sky, hovering like freaking over me. I caught it at Chris's house last weekend. I caught it 2 Sundays ago. And I'll look up and it's like it's interesting during the whole fucking experience. I'll look up and it's like I get this zoom in vision as soon as I see them. And I think that's the truest part of me starting to come out, because it realizes what's going on. And I'll like zoom in and I'll see it. And it's a fucking reptilian up there just fucking floating in the sky trying to project this frequency down on me. And I look up and I just point at him. And I'm like, do not make me love you to death. Get the fuck out of here.
Unless you want a hug and some birthday cake, bro.
It's
you're
like,
about to get it big time.
It's like, get the fuck. And it was funny that, 2 Sundays ago when they tried so like, I was in my experience, man. It's so funny. I'm sitting there and I'm like just bathing in the golden ocean of source, man. And I'm just hanging out. The vibes were awesome. And then I'm like looking up in this realm and I see these golden rays of light coming down. And I start to zoom in on this one golden ray of light. And there they are. There's 3 of them just trying to blend in. And I immediately, dude, it was so funny. Like I get up out of my little ocean. I just point at them. I'm like, nah. I'm like, no. I'm like, you got some audacity trying to blend in with the good vibes right now. Okay. You have some audacity. I said, you need to go. This is not for you. This is for me. I said, do not make me love you to death. I will come over there and love it. And they all just go like this. And like, they turn around and they start walking away. And I'm like, that's right. And then one of them tried to blend into the environment. I noticed they tried to do that to hide. I'm like, nope, I see what you're doing. Do not make me come over there and love you. And then it like got back out and walked away. But and then I remember I kind of like hopped back into my body for a second. I looked up and one of them was floating in the sky, dude. It was with a ship, and I like pointed up at it, and I was like, "No, go away before I love you." Right? You guys just need some love. You guys are just so starving for love, and it was so funny, dude, because they all just like turned around and like bounced as soon as I started
eating
like
the wrong thing.
I got up, dude. It was so funny. Like I got up out of my chair and I was yelling and pointing. I was like, "Get the fuck away!" Like now. But as you were saying though, because one of the things I want to bring up, you talked about the reciprocative energetic impact between the dark and the light. Like when something really dark happens, like you were saying, like you're about to get, tortured, killed off, or whatever it is. And you get pulled from the body, because that's when the light can intervene. One thing I've noticed in this, man, I want to get your opinion, is this is our collective shift. Every time the parasite class tries to do something, every time they try to alter the timeline, every time they try to, like even just what happened last Wednesday, they try to alter the timeline when what they did in 2020. It is like the divine light increases thrice-fold with every single thing that they do. And it's like, I'm like, have they not figured this out yet? Or have they figured this out and they're just being ignorant? And they think
they got to play out the chess game. It's a chess game. So they're playing it. So when they're like, the balls of these guys making a move like that so aggressively, yes, it's Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander will only be satisfied by moments that are like that. You're playing against that guy. Don't expect to like when you're fighting someone, if you're taking them out and you guys knife stab each other and you get him with a good one and he kind of gets you not with a good one, if he still swings his arms, he's at his most dangerous, because now he's going to pull it and just go crazy. Those guys flip the board when you play chess. They go for it. They're like, oh, we're going to have to do this because you know what the end means, right? Transmutation for most and jail for the rest.
It's like the dude, but I've seen it, man. And it's like, it is. And this is where I tell people, to not take the black pill. And, of course, not a lot of people, I mean, still in the conspiracy community. I mean, don't get me wrong, the conspiracy community pre-2020 recognized the underlying spiritual nature to this existence. It was something that was recognized, registered in the minds. And, they, and it was part of our community at that time. It was really only recently this shift into 2020 that it seemed to have gotten muddy. But this is where I say, to a lot of people that we're going to win this. We're going to be okay. They are playing out their own undoing at this point. Because for and this is the thing too, then I even got this message, and I want to see if you corroborate with me on this. Because in 2020, we know the free will principle here, and it can't be impeded upon. And that's a big no-no in the spiritual realms. You can't impede on the free. But in 2020, they did a little bit.
No, they do it all the time.
Yeah, they do, and they continuously impede on. And that's where the other thing that's kind of starting to free. And it's like, dude, I even got the message like they try something like 2020 again.
It's a wrap.
You guys are all fucking going fully online, and it's done. So and freaking yeah.
All right. So they have their community under the pyramid, right? The guy with the high table, and then it works its way down. Well, we have it reversed, right up against them, where the whole line at the top is power to the people. So you do something like what happened to Charlie Kirk, right? Now, obviously, there's more to it, and there's always multiple levels of this. But I'm going to tell you that was a ritual. The ritual was so we won't do what we're going to do, but they're going to do that and get away with it. But it's going to cover up the things that are coming, and our eyes will go to the actions of the assassin and all that other deceptive story they give, and we go down that rabbit hole instead of paying attention to what they do the next day. That's not being televised, where they voted against the Epstein, where they voted this way. They just kept that Somalian tyrant in power tonight, right? They voted against it by 4 votes. Oh, look at that. It's always, oh, he won by 1 vote. Oh, it's always so close. No, it's all bullshit. Absolutely. And it has to be played out ritualistically. But here's the problem. People like you and I see that, and it's a trickle-down effect, just like everything else. Bullshit. And it echoes, and then people are like, I don't like some people go real deep, but you got bots online helping you go deeper to get your mind. There are infiltrate bots online. Not everybody's real. And they're taking you down the rabbit hole to choose a team of some kind. And you better choose a side, because what's right in the eyes of God, what's right in the eyes of somebody else's God and the creator. Like, they just got you blurred into that. But if you step back and go, no, the trick doesn't work anymore. We obviously have cameras in all directions. You guys are obviously lying to us. So just that little bit, say like a 10 percentile of people see that and go, oh my goodness. And then all the hate towards this guy that was the nicest guy, all of a sudden, it was like, look, you get free speech in this country, but you're not free from consequences. I'll tell you a little secret about the Bronx. If you ever came into 108, where I used to hang out and act the way anyone acts today,
Oh
We would
man, no,
just
I
knock
already know.
you the fuck out and leave you there. And you'll be like, but it's free speech, not free from consequences.
Exactly, dude. And I mean, you laid it out. You laid it out so well. I do feel it was a ritual to try and stifle us, and it
But
was.
that
And
raised the tide. Another 10% were like, oh, I can't believe you would say these terrible things about a young man who just died in front of his entire family on TV, in front of 3,000 people and everyone else. And that's the kind of rhetoric you're coming with? Okay, you can see the side forming. And we got to not get it. Angers all of us in one way or another, either side. But we have to stay down the middle. Our job is to not pick the side. Because the minute I get caught in that tide, I have to ride that wave. I'm not riding that wave. I'm riding this
dude.
one.
Who wants to ride that wave too? Oh my God. So like, and that's the, because both you get to a point, and this is I have a few things I want to talk to you about after what you just said. So the first thing, one of the layers to this is I feel this was a litmus test of some kind. And why I say that is, right now we are being tested on multiple levels, and of course we're passing that test. We know the division's an illusion, and we know that's absolute. It's absolute bullshit. Like you were saying, bullshit. The division is bullshit. It's an absolute. It's an illusion, man, and that's definitely the test too.
We're all yelling at each other. Bullshit.
Bullshit. It's like that, dude. I mean, honestly, like I said, man, it's definitely all fake and gay at this point when it comes to that, but. The other thing too is, this was a test. I feel like this was kind of a litmus test. Humanity, and I've spoken with you about this before, and I think this even kind of goes back to 2012, where I say at that point in time, and I use the video game reference too because people get it. An expansion pack was downloaded onto this reality back in 2012, and what that expansion pack was, human test run, ascension test run, or human ascension, whatever it might be, that was installed into the mainframe of this holographic simulation we are in at this point in time, and it started running. And that's when the tests began. And of course, we've had major ones, we've had minor ones. This is to me, this was a test of empathy, because we look at human empathy and how it is a core aspect of our true nature. And those who had empathy for what happened, in my opinion, passed this test.
Yeah.
And those who were cruel and, decided to be evil in this moment, and that was a test of collective character. And this is, one of the things I want to ask you, dude, and I want to get your thoughts on this, because I right now feel people who buy so heavily into the bipartisan system and this illusion, they are opening themselves up to what I would call channeling dark egregoric entities. Some of the behavior I have seen from people at this point in time, who are just so attached to the right or the left, man, they're putting forth this negative, toxic behavior, mannerisms, actions. So I want to ask you this, man. Do you think that this could be the case when you buy and you sell your soul to this false reality and the false division? Do you believe at this point in time we have these negative egregoric entities that are almost channeling themselves into people of the collective who have just sold their soul into this?
When you believe what they want you to believe, it allows like a separation onto a track where they can influence you way more. So in other words, they can like open their cape and wrap it around you from the higher, their version of the higher level, because their thought process for you is to get you thinking like that, to keep you at a layer that'll curve you back into a cycle so they can encompass you. On the other side, we don't allow that. We are the light. Source light comes down. There is no, you try and put your cape around me and watch what happens. Try it. I'll get you before. This is the thing at our level. The minute one of them has a thought, I'm going to go do this, I know you're coming. And I already am waiting with cake. Oh, here's the surprise of the day. You got a cape cake today, buddy. So, and that's being just really nice about it. But there's a couple things going on. So many. Like almost it feels like an infinite amount. You have human bodies that are avatar and not what we were discussing earlier. How are you? What was the
Emanations.
word? Emanations. So you have a physical framework built into the reality with a limited AI system, fight or flight, that allows access to AI or reptilian or another character of some kind that they either know or don't know that it's them doing it. So when you have that in a crowd, the spiritual world will tell you never get in a crowd during these times because we can't protect you in the crowd, because you could be walking and all of a sudden someone's like because of the t-shirt you're wearing, or just looks at you and goes and you see what they do, the purple hair, the pink hair, the blue hair, poisonous, venomous snakes. Okay, all of that is attracting, and I'm sure you're loaded with parasites too, by the way. Right? That's the entry points for all of these different beings. So, and you have creator beings lost in the mix. But what you also have is those of us who are on opposing sides, and then all of a sudden, I'm not on a side. I'm on my side. I'm on the source's side, the side of
Me
the
too,
earth.
bro.
Like
Me too.
when you raise up and you're like, what side are you on? I'll be like, listen, I'm an ambassador to ayahuasca. You better watch everything you do on this planet, because I see you doing stuff, because I'm not there yet, but I'm coming. That you didn't ask permission. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be doing that. Did you ask anyone's permit? Did you say, Mother Earth, we're going to do this? Is it okay? No, not one of them. Well, that's what we're here. That's the side that I'm on, right? Let's clear this and clean this place up.
Dude,
Something popped up.
No, sorry, that was an accident. No, there's a question from the viewer. I meant to bring it up after, but no, we do have a question from the viewer, and everybody's loving you, man, tonight in the chat.
I love all of them.
Everybody's loving you, man. They love your energy. So Earth Grid Rescue Mission, stated question, Senior Frank, do you think the quantum computer is a bridge or a radio like of sorts to allow certain consciousness to connect to our realm?
So yes, but you don't need that. You are the quantum source. Quantum, you're God's source, right? A quantum computer will hook other characters and other computers, other background things, but most likely when you talk of quantum computing, you're going to be speaking to someone like we used to do on a radio, but the objective to this whole thing is to do that with your mind. Yes, you can do it here. That's like the movie where the guy's talking to the kid in the future, his dad or something in the past through the box. He has the radio and he dials in, and one's in the future. His dad's been dead for years, and then the other guy's in the. So yeah, you can have all that, and it will connect, and it'll connect a whole bunch of stuff. It'll connect other computers. You'll say, oh, it's reading the past, future, the now moment. Oh my goodness. But it's still just that.
Completely agree with you.
Any system that you bring to my attention. Oh, did you know this system? And I'm like, yeah, source. I am the system. I'm that. You're just talking about systems inside the systems inside the system. That's all inside of me. So yeah. This is how I make it easy for myself, because it's not easy. Source. I'm source. Period. I am. Okay, now what did you want? Right? And then when you go through the process, you're like, oh, okay. So those reptilians, they go away. They're like, oh, look who's here. I won't even attempt to mess with that. Don't even look at them. If you look at them, you're gonna burn out your eyes. Stop staring. And I just look around the room like, who wants the eye contact like we're in prison? Come on, because I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
100%, man. It almost makes you like, you want to go up to them and like hold their head and like look at them and be like, look,
my face. That's why I love Ghost Rider, the penitent stare, right? I just hold you and make you look at all the things you've done. Show them the reflection. That's all you got to do. Show the reflection. a little
it's
mirror in
easy.
your hand and go, look at you, look how cute you look today. And they will go, no.
Well, it's exactly like that. And you pointed out something very big too. Like, and you said you like to keep it simple for yourself, but ultimately, when we boil down to it, spirit is simple. Spirit is very simple. And like, yes, I know. We can get caught up in the logistics of things and all of that, but and yes, it's okay to entertain the complexity. But when you get to a certain point, you understand, like, down to the core of everything. I am source. Everything. I am everything. Everything is within me. I am everything that is, was, and ever will be. And that is ultimately what I feel, like you were even just saying, is true spirituality. And real quick, Don has a quick question. He said, what if you were like, with the Charlie Kirk thing, what if you were like, meh, looked kind of staged. I feel bad for his family if that was real and just moved on. You still...
I'll give you two things on that. Yeah, that's fine. Man, look staged, whatever. Everything's staged today. That's why it looks staged, and it could be staged. But Don, I'm going to tell you a little secret, and I haven't talked about this. Somebody wrote me this the other day, asked me, "Did you see Charlie Kirk pass?" And I did. I was in the shower, and he was like there during my greetings. He was just there, and I said, "Oh, look, you made it." And he said, they shot me. And he's like showing me some stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. But I'm also one of the guys. I hate using names like this. They call us death walkers.
Mm-hmm.
You'll help cross people. And I cross everyone I know. I don't know how it happens sometimes. And it's just, if my intent is there, I'm helping and checking if they made it. Because if they didn't make it and they got cycled back, I'm going to intercept it. That was part of my deal. Like if they got false light grabbed, I can grab you back out of that because I'm fully aware of how that works. And once you go spirit, I can do anything I need to do. It's the physical thing, like pick up this device with your spirit. That's hard to do. But I could energy to energy. I can do things. I can just pull. I can do anything, literally anything. And it's just your will be done. And when you come from the heart with this stuff, I know it sounds crazy. When you come from the heart with this stuff, it just all happens. You don't control it. You just kind of go with the flow, and it's open and it's happy and it's healthy and it's powerful, more powerful than anything you could imagine. So you tend to lean towards, I could smack him, but I didn't. I kind of sent him on his way. He knows when he comes back, whatever. Right. When you start to see how the animals interact with you and everything, you start to change. You realize the power, like what is power? And you start to describe it to yourself, and you start to realize, well, I didn't have this yesterday, but I have it today. And now that I'm aware of this ability and power, I'm going to play it cool because damn, I love my kitten. I love my cat. And I wouldn't want me to flex that energy onto that beautiful creature. And then I just spread it to every creature. That's how I do it mentally. I'm like, oh, everyone gets the love. And especially my wife and my mother. Oh, the whole house, the foundation of the house gets it. And I'll be clearing stuff out, not realizing I'm sending a piece of me through that, clearing it. And it really does raise everything around. I'm like, whoa. Absolutely. It like shuts down the fake grid to the, like, whatever the bubble is of energy, however far out it goes without interference. It's pretty far. It's pretty big.
I'm gonna say no. I completely agree, man. And this is where, like you were saying, love into everything. And I want to get your thoughts on this. And because you and I, we feel very similarly on so many things. And and to me, I was telling, I don't know if I had the chance to tell you that I had my first Bufo Various experience at the end of June.
Really?
Yep. I had my first Bufo. I died multiple times. I'm talking dead. Yeah. And it was very interesting, man, because like during the whole experience, I was immediately shot into the perspective of source consciousness, which is there's no words really to describe that, but you were quite literally everything, dude. You were everything. And I remember I was source consciousness, and I was looking down at my body, and it was so interesting. And I was coaching my body, like I was programming it during the whole experience. And I was Source, and I'm looking at, and of course, like, I remember, like, I was looking through these periods of my life and these memories as Source, looking at Steven's memories. And I looked down and I said to my body, I was like, well, yes, you're here to do a job. You're on a mission, but don't forget to cherish this. Never do. Never forget that. And I remember one of the things I was coaching, well, Source was coaching, what I was coaching myself on at that point in time was what true ascension is. And as I was Source, true ascension is taking my love to the fullest extent, channeling it into where you are right now, and imparting it into every facet of existence. And that was because love ultimately, and I want to get your opinion on this too. Love is more than just an emotion, man. It's a force. It's a power, and it can manipulate time and space. You know what I mean? And I've seen it, like you've seen I'm sure a perfect example I like to use. It's funny. Have you ever had that dish that was made with love? Right. And then maybe like a little bit later, you go have that same dish somewhere else that wasn't made with love. It's like two different ball games, man. You're like sitting there like, dude, did you miss some ingredients? Did you like not put enough salt in here or something like that? And no, I followed the recipe to a T, and that's because it wasn't made from love. And the other thing I've seen too is love alters time. If you're ever sitting down with people you love, have you ever noticed that like time tends to slow down, like people you truly love and people that you cherish, and time starts to slow down. But let me get your thoughts on all of that. Like, do you think that that is true ascension, channeling the divine love into ourselves in every aspect of this existence? And have you had an experience where you've seen love alter space and time?
Yeah, absolutely. So right before the show started, my wife said to me, Paul, she said, remember, there's only love on the meter. We have this thing with the meter. Oh, it's a level of crazy. There's only love. And then away from love. That's it. There's nothing else. And everything, and I know this is what I added. I said, and everything's color coded into this place in that level of furthest from love, because you'll have one scenario where you love something, turn around and step on something and kill something else. Mm-hmm. Right? You'll use love to kill that something else. You'll say, I love this, so I kill this. Right? Love is weird. It's this weird there's this lever of it. So our job is to just, as a coil or an ascension ladder, well, it's not a ladder, it's a spiral staircase, an ascension spiral. And the spiral that I talk about is to just fill that spiral with light from source. And then the spiral itself turns into that. It already is, but we have like the physical matter in us. The DNA is in the flesh. So there's like two things occurring. So you bring it down, you heal the traumas, and that turns everything. You're allowing more light in, and it just spins you up and allows source to flow right through you. Chief Hollowbone gave me a shout once and said, the bone is hollow, because I made a terrible joke under ayahuasca to one of the chiefs. I was like, hey, hollow bone, hey, right? And everyone looked at me like, are you out of your mind? And he went, just sit down. I'm going to explain the hollow bone to him. And he just pusted it out, a hollow bone. And I go, oh, what do you fill that with? And he goes, love. He goes, it could take any form, but it comes from source, right? So I fill the hollow with love and light. And then I take it and I release it. He made the joke back to me. Hey, I released it back on you. And then I'm like, oh, I'm out of light and love. This is what he was. This is an Indian chief. he said, "Oh, looks like I'm all empty. What am I going to do?" And then Source just filled it with twice the amount. And he goes, "Do it again." I heard, and then I was like, wait. And then he just went hollow bone right in my face, all that energy. And I was crying tears and completely understood. Man, this is free, bro. You just give this away and more comes and more happens. See, this is the hard part. You have to give yourself to it. Like my mother saw some stuff during her little whatever and awakening. And I said that somebody gave her a flower and the flower is still alive. It's been a week. And she's like, I can't believe it's a purple flower. It's gorgeous. It's just sitting at the table. So she told me the story. She wants to get out of here because the neighbor got robbed. All kinds of terrible stuff just happened on my block in the last week. Man. Big problems here. And then she was walking the dog and she said there was a Rastafarian with a beautiful flower. He was getting on his bicycle. And I said, "What a beautiful flower." And he looked over and he said, "Yo, this was for my girl who she's not coming. She was going to come visit me and she's not coming. So I can't carry this because I got to go down to the city. I want you to have this." And she's like, "Yo, I fell in love with this guy. He was just beautiful. He's a beautiful man. He was beautiful. His skin, even the dreads, everything. He was beautiful." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And she's like, "I think he put love in the flower." That's what she said earlier today. And I says, and if you believe that, believe it 100% and it'll 100% happen more. That like you believe in it. You're like, wow, that happened. Yeah. Okay. I'm ready for more. Show me more. I'm ready. And it'll hit you again, fill up. And then you'll turn around and be like, "You know what happened to me? I'm filled with love today. Now I want to hug and kiss everyone." Like it really does spread around. And it does lift, and a rising tide will lift everything. All the little boats come up. They won't go maybe as high, but they go. Remember, not everybody's gonna. A few percent at a time. We're beginning when we talk about this 51%. I bug out in my mind, and then I realize not everyone here is a human creator that we talk about. And I'm not trying to separate from them, but when we talk about hitting a consciousness point, how many need to hit that 51%? I don't think there's as many of us as you think to get to that 51. I think it's us. Like that crowd is going to do it. And the crowd that I watched Jamie Lee Curtis completely lose herself about Charlie Kirk and people, the way they were acting. And I know that she's got a little witch tendencies for a fact.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. So, but she did that and was like, dude, that's a father. His kids, that's not how we are as a people. Come on. Oh, look who just popped up on the radar. Oh, little Miss Witch got a heart all of a sudden. That's because that's what children do. It's when you love your husband and your children and you, oh, come on, guys. That's not how we should be. You've lived a life. You're starting to see things around you. And then you see what really goes on into the darkness. And you're like, dude, we got to love, man. We got to love.
Yeah.
And it brings those people up and we go, oh, and all the people she affects. Oh, she's right. She's right. We shouldn't be like that. Oh, dude, they're on our side. It's not a Charlie Kirk thing. It's the side of the morally right, correct, the source love direction, call it whatever you want, right? Just being here is enough. You're powerful enough. You don't even got to get involved in any of this stuff, but everyone's really involved in all this stuff right now. So it has to be talked about.
It does, man. It does. And one thing I want to bring up, because this is something both you and I experience, and I'm completely in agreement with you. I do think that there are far less what I would say creator beings here than we realize. And I actually caught a glimpse of this. It was very interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, one of my favorite ways to smoke DMT is when I'm peaking on an eighth of mushrooms. That's one of my favorite ways to do it, dude. I know people look at me like I'm nuts. But one of the things I tell them is so, all right, you got to look at it this way. when you're on mushrooms or another psychedelic, you're already going 80 miles per hour, right? So smoking the DMT is just going from like 80 to 120, right? It's just like a little bit of a, you're going just up like a few more layers, right? But then if you smoke DMT from sober, that's the equivalent of going 0 to 120. So like that's why I've always been a fan. So I had an experience actually the first time I decided to do it, and I chalked up the nerve to do it, and I lost the fear, and it's been my favorite way ever since. But I remember I broke out, dude, and one of the biggest things is I saw this existence and this vision I was having as a big giant dome. Right. And I saw these entities, and what they were doing is they were posing as humans. Like they had their heads, like you could see their bodies sticking out of the dome. And they had their heads in the dome, and they had their cohorts around them. And occasionally what they would do is they would pull their head out and they would like communicate with their cohorts about like what was going on in there. And then they would put their head back in, and then they would go. And then that was like the first realization I had. I was like, man, we have a lot of things that are walking around as humans here that are not fucking humans. And I was sitting there, and it completely blew me away. But this is a thing. This is a real thing. And, especially, with the reptilian entities, they very much so like wearing human suits. So like, let's hear some of your experiences on this, man, because people still think this is far out, but like, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
So I have a thing like you do. And I do this to my clients too. So I'll be on the ayahuasca right in the height, and I'll be like, yo, everybody all right? Everybody all right? Oh, yeah. Come on, let's do a hit of DMT. And just launch yourself, because you're already right there. So it's just kind of ebb and flow, and you can make it work. Aya is not against it. She's like, you're smoking me, you're drinking me. It's the same thing. No big deal. 100%. So she rolls with it. But I did that once, and I swear I popped out on a reptilian cruiser looking down at them, and it was very Empire-esque from Star Wars. It was smelly though, and very damp, and I don't know, moldy, muggy. It was really gross. But I was looking at them, and they were all lined up, and I was like, oh, just like in St. Clair's when I used to go to school, they used to make us line up in the morning. I go with your little Nazi march and I was saying all this stuff. So then I look, and looking at me was one of the beings that was standing on the deck, but it was a reptilian, but it was a snake man. He had a hood on, and he was just staring at me. And I'm like, oh man, I learned this a long time ago. If one of them focuses on you, to bounce immediately. So I was like, I'm not bouncing. I owe this guy a beating. A snake man actually killed one of my cats once during one of my experiences, and it really has just left me mind blown. But they're the scariest ones I've ever seen. So I'm looking, and he's like staring, and he's just reading me, and I'm like, I can't stop him, but I read him back, and he's all proper and proud. He's like an evil priest witch character. Very powerful. He has magic spells that actually work. There's only one per every 1,000 reptilian warriors, the big ones that everyone's afraid of, the ones that you are afraid of, those. There's only one of those snake guys, because one of them and 1,000 men, and then you separate them. You have to separate these guys. You can't have another snake man around. They're too powerful, and it's like 1 per 1,000. That's the balance. And I was like, oh, look, they have these war generals that literally dominate societies through hiding visually who they are, while implementing these warriors that you're like, if you were infiltrated and then woke up one day and saw that instead of your own, like the other human or something, you'd be like, well, I give up, I surrender. And you're already in the farm. Right? Mm-hmm. They use technology. They use I didn't think magic worked like that. And then I realized I'm magic. Like I had to put it, you know how Superman has a problem with magic? It hurts him because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't get how it works. So Source will always tell me, when you're manifesting, do you care about the details in the manifest, or do you just manifest it? I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, Do you want to manifest a smoke, right? Do you worry about all the details, or do you go, I want to smoke, and you already know what the details are in your mind, but you're not focusing on them? You're just boop manifesting it out. Like when you prescribe the detail and you get too deep into it, it becomes not as potent and as powerful. And I'm like, so wait, so he's pulling power or from energy around him and using that to manifest through spells, but I can just do it no spell. And he's like, no, it's because you're it. You're taking magic and you're thinking magic is this and you're that. No. You're this, and he's using a spell not to just pull your energy, but to pull any energy of creation from all different kinds of angles. He has to do a spell to do that because he's not a creator. And that's why it hits like a hammer when it works, because you're like, oh, it's like a wave and a force. But when you're awakened, and he tries to do it to you, the spell don't even reach you. You laugh at him. You're like, what a clown. But if you were standing down there with your flesh, you wouldn't be calling him a clown. You'd be dinner for him. Remember that. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Ayahuasca showed me these guys once, and she had me standing like a hologram with it. I didn't know it was a hologram. And he came out, and I just looked. I said, okay, obviously these things are real. I was fine. And then it looked at me, and I said, okay, that's enough. And then it moved towards me, and I was like, yo, back up. So I started pulling things out to be like, here, take this and get out of here. Nothing. It wanted nothing. No matter what I did, it wanted me. And it got right up on me. And I was like, okay, enough. And she stopped the whole thing. And she goes, do you understand what I'm telling you about these characters? You don't play with these. They're not, nobody's allowed to touch nobody and all that. We have our rules in 3D and all that. Those guys don't give a shit. They'll set up magic. They'll create a whole coven to just you. And they'll focus everything on making you miserable. Like, just don't even bother. So when we tell you to get out of the way until you don't have to get out of the way. And you said something earlier, and this has to do with getting out of the way. Fire, walking through the fire. When we were at the eclipse in South Carolina, and I think it was like 2017 or something, we were down there, and my clients were giving me a hard time, two of them, and they were in a full AI apocalypse. They were going through it. Everything that they were going through just had tentacles in it. So afterwards, nobody else wanted to be around them. So we went to the fire outside afterwards. And I'm not used to being around fires. And it was beautiful. I'm having such a good time. We're trying to talk to them, and they kept being nasty to me. They kept like they said Sekhmet was in there, and I had to this is what he said. So I was like a lawyer. They were judging us, and if I didn't talk our way out of it, they were going to line us up and get rid of us. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. That would never happen. I've been doing this. What are you talking about? And he got mad at me, and he was like yelling, and the fire went right at me. Now, I was 15 feet on one side. He was yelling at me with his brother on the other side. My wife was here, and this other girl was next to, she was kind of off to the side of me. And I looked up at him, and I went, no. And I put my hand up. The fire never touched my hand. It went right here. It jumped from me to my wife, knocked her completely unconscious. No, we ran, everyone, oh my God, what just happened? And he was staring at me, and I looked at him. I said, how dare you use fire on a fire elemental? How dare you? I'm like, I am made of that. How dare you even attempt to do that? And he was like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I'm so sorry. I go, and how dare you not protect my wife from it? I didn't know that I was going to deflect it, but it was going to hit me in the face. So I just put my hand up, but I said no. And then it just went boom. And it was like a V shot. And Paula went down. She went through the chair. And we were like, what? I almost ran through the fire to get to her. And I was like, you son of a bitches. So walking through the fire, you will literally at some point be able to walk through, bend it. have it work alongside you, not burn you. Literally didn't touch me. This thing came out like it looked like a small flamethrower, like you started shooting it and then it stopped. So it was like, whoop, and then that whole piece just came at me. And I was like, well, I don't know what's happening. No, that's not going to happen though, because you're bullshitting. You're lying. And this whole thing came out that night. It was really crazy. Ayahuasca had given me a choice: be with your wife, help the other girl, or go to them and try to help them. But the choice is yours as the shaman. And I walked out on the back patio to help the guys. I opened the door and there were tentacles, everything. And I was trying to get their attention. They were crying and throwing up. And I was like, you guys, this is all fake. And then they were like, this is all your fault, Frank. And I just closed the door. I went into the other room and she was being abducted. So I said, well, I'm going to hang with my wife because she's being abducted right now.
Yeah.
So I've had experiences that just really put all of this into tune with me. And then I had military men literally come into my apartment and beat the crap out of me when I lived a couple of blocks away, like 3 years ago. They split my head open. They hit me in the back of the head with one of their weapons, knocked me out of my body. I thought they were trying to suicide me. There was all kinds of things happening, but it wasn't just happening to me. It was happening to multiple people on my block. So when they did get me out of my body, they used a frequency weapon on me. I went out of my body in 1 second. They hit me with it, boom. And I was just standing there like, well, that didn't hurt. My body was on the floor. I didn't even know what happened. And they were like, well, he's done. He can't get back in. And I got back in. I stood up.
So why did the military come? What, dude? So I got to ask you this, because why I have something I want to talk to you about the fire experience. But what was the cause of them coming into people on your block and doing this?
This is what I saw. It looked like, what's the musical instrument? The saxophone. Mm-hmm. So imagine a dot right behind me on the wall, right here. Boom. You just see a black dot. And then it just expanded like a saxophone and the hole opened and they just walked in. Holy and I saw them coming from my computer. I had the whole setup like this. So I was leaning into the computer and I saw it happening. I saw my cat jump from behind in the reflection. I saw the hole coming and I thought it was going to hit me. So I turned around and men just started walking into my apartment. And I was like, oh, and when I turned this way, the ET came through the desk and I was like, put my hands up. Long story short, he used the weapon on me, knocked me to my body was on the floor. It was done. And I was standing in a black and white. It wasn't fully black. It looked like a blueprint of what everything's supposed to be. So where the desk was, it was like dotted lines and a strong line to show you this is where the desk is and a few feet, that's the wall. All right, but you can move through everything. Mm-hmm. So the architecture wasn't like rendered yet or something. And the ET was like, he cannot do anything. I was looking right at them. I'm like, I looked at the portal and I saw they had a base of operations where they were moving their guys through, right? Not just my place. It was the whole area. I saw the neighbors looking up as if they saw the white flash. You know, they flash you with that and then you're out. There's ways around that, but the ETs like to do that right before they abduct you. And I didn't know they were working with military men, but I looked at them and I said, I don't know about this gray, ugly. I was cursing. I was like, this ugly guy. I said, but you two, I'm going to find you two. I looked into their eyes. I knew who they were. Like I felt like I could read their energy. And I said, you're not going to get away from me. Every night when you go to sleep at night, there I'm going to be. And they were just looking at me. I'm like, they could hear me, but I can't do anything to them. And then I looked at my body. The ET held, it was looked like the Ghostbuster stick to the backpack without the backpack, held it on me, turned up the juice. It just looked like vibration. I hit my body, couldn't get in. And then I went in like I was slicing butter that just came out of the freezer or something. Like it was like, oh, I'm going to get in there. And then boom, I stood up and then they started just punching me. I was like, whoa. And then I screamed. My wife came out. What's that? What the hell's going on? It caused nightmares for a long time. I didn't go live for weeks. I didn't want to talk to no one. I was like, yo, man, the back of my head was split open. I got up, screamed. whoever hit me knocked me to the ground, like one-shotted me, boom. And I was like, and then I got back up like, come on, let's go, boom. And then they were gone. I was like, wow,
dude,
I can't even fight. Like, but it was just too much. So I stopped talking, but then my guys were like, nah. I go, where was all my people? This was the argument I had. Where's my people? So when they came out, I saw like a bubble over the block. And when I was in that blueprint area, I saw mad people being shuffled around, loaded into different spots, taken over here. So I saw there was quite a lot going on, but there was a bubble. It had to be 12, 15 feet, maybe over the house. I'm like, are they blocking our ability to project out? Like I can't hear anyone. I don't hear them. I don't feel them. And then when all of this stopped, it all went away. I was having what I thought was seizures earlier in the evening. I didn't realize they were working on me. They were doing stuff to me. That I was drained and just like, and then it just stopped. And then everything was normal again. And I'm like, where's my people? Hello? And then boom, it all came on. Everyone understood what happened. They were like, don't worry, we're sorry, we didn't even know. This is what happens. Chess moves. You don't think they'll make the move, and then they're doing stuff to the population.
100%.
What they were talking about me was, they said, so they won't know if it's drugs or he did too much ayahuasca. Like nothing's going to show up on his radar when they test him. So they're just going to say had a heart attack and died. Okay. And then they were showing the men, the ET was showing the men how to use the weapon. And I'm like, you're not been doing that. You're Americans doing that to Americans. I was bugging out, dude. I said, this is a USA problem. Like I was filled with like that weird Hulk Hogan energy. Like this is America. Like, you know, I'm an American and you're an American. You do this to your people. You're a human. You work with this clown right here. Anyway, so less than a year later, doing mushrooms in the apartment, the same thing happens, except this time
you were ready.
No, it was different. The exact same thing. And there was an Anubis character. It wasn't Anubis, but it was a character that looked like Anubis. He walked in with like 12 ETs and said, which one was it? And I said, I'm not going to recognize. That's him right there. And he goes, we are given orders to do these things to you. We have to follow them or we're done. They just get rid of us. So I hope that you forgive. And the Anubis characters like continue. And they were telling them they were stealing DNA. They were doing all these crazy plans and that they weren't going to do that no more. I go, so you guys are winning the fight. They're like, no, see, what they did was overstepped. They always overstep. They'll go too far. They'll come into your apartment. They'll smack your wife. They'll kill your cat. They'll do it. They don't care. They don't have a care. There's no empathy for them. That's why it bothered me with the humans there. The humans, you should know better than this kind of stuff. And there has to be a balance with that. However, on the other end, people, it's weird when you talk about the Galactic Federation or the Galactic Alliance. These characters exist as well as inner Earth characters, and they all play roles. So if someone, let's say a reptilian, jumps up and slaps you for real, and he's like, I'm going to eat you, and goes to get you, whoever your angel, your guardian angel, your archangel, your Galactic Federation check-in buddy is going to see that. And they're going to immediately come and get involved immediately. That's how these things work. One oversteps. Okay, if you do your chess move and you got Frank, okay, you got him. You obviously beat him up. He had this experience. We couldn't help him. He cried for help, whatever. On the next chess move, we take your board. We just took your base. Now we're going to march you back in to where you were, and you're going to fix the things you did, and you're going to put everything back the way it was. Balance needs to be restored. This is part of it, man. You can't just go behind the scenes and poke me in the eye. You can't just take me out that way. It's illegal. It's like It's an illegal move in the game, but they love to do it, and they think they don't get caught sometimes because they have their own sets and abilities, but everything's recorded, right? Say you got rid of me and Steve and this one, that one, that one, and no one knew, and then the bubble comes off, and everyone's like, "Where's Steve and Frank and this one and that one?" You're gonna notice, and then it's read. They read it just like we read Akashic records or the source energy, or it's all written down. This is why they know it's a play in the game. It has to be recorded, even if it's been censored. You know,
man, dude, I'm just glad. I'm fucking glad you're here with us, and that dude, I probably would have, like Nick was saying in the comments, man. He's like, I want to see Frank Hulk out. I was like, man, I probably would have like hulked out in that moment, at least back not too long ago when that happened.
When they knocked me down, I hulked, bro. I went raw, but they bonk. That was it. I was done. I'm 51. I'm not what I used to be. I have a neck and back injury, but
what you mean?
I spiritually though, I want to rage to some of this stuff and everything, but I've learned that just sit in it. They will fear the power when you're just like, I got you. And your focus and attention on them now drains them. My focus on what you're doing. What are you doing over there? You know how they say the wave collapse when you pay attention? That's why that double slit thing. So, right. So imagine me and you looking over at one of them and they're trying to do something. And we're just like, the wave collapses around them. They're like, well, okay, enough.
I'm good.
Yeah. Hanuman, I know you've worked with Hanuman. I had to go to a deity to free myself from some witches that were literally sticking demon attaches to me, but it wasn't working for them, but it was building up nonstop. So I went to Hanuman. I said, yo, they're all afraid of you. This is demonic, right? And he said, yes, this is demonic. I said, okay. He goes, you recognize that? I recognize that. I said, okay, don't you have laser eyes? Everyone's afraid of you. How do you laser eye these guys? Like, you have these eye things. They lights up and it looks like Superman. And he said to me, you want to show me how to, it's time that you learned how to do that. And he's like, it's just an intense stare. And then your willpower. And I'm like, oh, and then it's a transmutation, just as if I was using my light sword, but with my eyes. And he's like, oh, right. Like, okay. So I started he showed me how to do it. And then I said, okay, I know how to do that now. So that when you're like, he just stares at them and they give him the information. That's why I laugh, because now I do that. I'll look at you. You're already reading me. You know what I want. Bitch, you know what I want. I want to talk to Samson, and I'll just stare you down. Go ahead, make me flinch. I dare you. And they go, okay, no, let him in. He's ready to go. This is why they tell you under ayahuasca, there'll be traumas that are behind masks that are so evil looking. And then you could be like, I love you, man. Cut that shit out. And the mask will morph into like a happier face, right? And be like, okay. And then ding, and move out of the way. And it's like an unlock. Right? And you get all this stuff because you weren't afraid of the man on the wall going, rah, rah, making faces at you. He ain't going to do shit. Open that up. That's my birthright. Open that up. And they go, oh, he did it. I'm like, so you hide these things behind evil things? And they're like, they're not evil. You're just scared. Were you scared of a man making an ugly face like a little kid doing peekaboo? Yeah. Right? Look, Steve.
Well, dude, it's standing in your power, man, and like, that's something too. I'm sure I mean, of course, like, I was laughing when you were talking about Hanuman because he's just very chill and a matter of fact like that. It's just how he rolls. It's always great. But dude, ultimately you're standing in your power is what it is. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned from any entheogen. And this has, rang true to even this very moment. It is always stand in your power. Know who you are. Don't forget it. Right? Because there are times I remember, man, when I didn't exactly back long ago when I was doing entheogens, I didn't realize, dude, like the mushrooms would fuck with me over it. they would be like, they would be like, oh yeah, like, like you're not standing in your power, so we're gonna do this. And I'd be like, oh my God. And then they would be like, you need to stand in your power, dude. Now's the time. You need to do it. And then I would finally be like, no, I am standing in my fucking power right now. I am going to fucking, because I am source. I have this in control. This is all coming from me. And every time I would make that realization, it was funny. There was a couple times I had to have, because I got put through some rough things. Like, yeah, imagine going to the DMT realm and getting just a spiritual ass beating up and down the fucking for the DMT realm, just freaking getting
that used to happen every time to a degree. It was either fearful or they beat me up, like literally. It felt physical. I smacked my higher self one day. I said, come down here. And he came down during the muscle. He's like, I'm right here. What can I do? And I went, slap. And he grabbed me and was like, bang, 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 bang. Are you done? And I was on the floor crying to him. I've had enough. And he's like, you had enough? Okay. And then he helped me up. And then he was like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, I'm just, and he was like, oh, hold on. And I split open, and then they were looking, and they're like, dude, it's too much. You're doing too much. Do less. Sit down for a second. Let it integrate. I'm like, if I'm not being attacked by a reptilian, it's a snake man. What keeps me sane in the whole thing, on top of all this, when I'm further away and out and something crazy is happening, it's my wife, Paula, is like my bring me back.
Oh yeah.
I always remember her. I'll remember her before I remember myself most of the time. I have a wife. Her name is Paula. Wait, what? Why would I say that? Oh, wait, I'm Frank. Here I go. Oh, I'm going back in. Right? But that's what does it. And my cats.
Oh yeah.
Those are my signals to be like, yo, chill. Remember, do this for them as well. They're in the house. So when I would get attacked, I would wind up showing, you got me that day, but I'm coming to your ship, your little hideout the next day. I'm coming and dropping in. Hey guys, remember this? You guys like cake, right? And then it begins again. And we would be doing that. Steve, there's so many more of us. I try to tell my buddy this all the time. That he thinks we're like 10 people in this in community. And I'm like, there's millions of us, right? Inside of billions. I said, and we would descend into scenarios and situations. So where you would think, oh, they got me again today. Oh, all of a sudden there's help everywhere. There's Steve, there's my other buddy, Chris, and there's my other buddy, and there's this character, and they descend into the scenario that's about to take place, and the scenario changes. They were going to do it, but now they can't do it because everyone showed up. Ayahuasca would drop us. We would drink in all different shaman from all different locations all at the same time and meet. By ayahuasca would pull us in. We'd stand in front of her and she'd go, okay, this is what we're doing today. And she would drop us in to rituals. And she'd be like, do what you do best. And we'd go in and just start wrecking shop. And some dudes were polite. Some dudes would change letters around. So you say the word wrong just a little bit. That's it. It's ruined. You ruined the whole thing. And wherever whatever timeline we were in, whatever battery of power that the evil ones or the whatevers were building by creating these timelines, by us going in time and ruining their ritual, even though they were in the past, it's still now moment. It was like someone pulled the cord on that and the energy started going down on the dark ones. They didn't have a battery of energy, and we're infinite, so we don't need the battery, but they were building one and it just drained. And I saw all those timelines flying away. Once you do the ritual wrong, it's 3 times back to you and goes back to empowerment to the light. So as you collapse those timelines with the other characters, you're helping bring forth the ascension timelines. You're guaranteeing that these other ones just fall away and die. Like pruning a branch in Marvel. They call it pruning, right?
Yeah,
that's what we would be doing, is pruning their false timeline they made us create through fear and anger and ritual and all this terrible things they do. I know this is a lot of weird stuff tonight.
No, I'm fucking loving it. Everybody's loving it, dude. I'm dialed in. Like I'm just listening and I'm taking it all in. And it's like, but and I, it's very cool because I hear a lot of what you went through, and I hear it in experiences I've had, and I think that's the similarity between us who have truly connected with and cultivated our divine spark and the bridge to our divine spark is when we go into these experiences, we experience it very. See, look, man, even Nick, love it, boys. You're the best. Everybody's loving this, man. And so, but like we experience these states at a much deeper and a much more intense level than you would say your average person. It's like, and I noticed that when I had my first ever psychedelic experience, it was actually by accident, and I was actually completely grateful, but it was such a intense, like eye-opening, like healing, like terrifying all at once, like experience for me. And a lot of people, man, they just and I don't mean it like in a derogatory way, but people who don't have the divine spark, they take a substance or like this, they see like colors, and they have like a little bit of trails, and
Yeah,
they
I
might
saw
have like
shapes.
yeah, I saw shapes. I saw these patterns and things like this. People like you and I, we ingest something like this, and we're in fucking another fucking realm, dude. That's it.
It's
We're
who we
fucking
are. I'm convinced. It's
yeah.
let's pull away from the source idea because we know we are source. But what else are you? You know what you are. You got the big reading the other day. So
Yep.
we're more like I'm getting chills everywhere. We are more than that. So Ra was explaining to me, my DNA is literally in you. King Solomon's DNA is in you. Sekhmet's DNA is in you. Horus, you are Horus. All these characters, Anubis, through all the you interact with them because their DNA is in you. That's why they come forward. They're not just archetypes that are like, oh yeah, well, we're part of the whole thing. No, because other people see other things, right? They're like, you're us, but who do you train with? They're like, who do you like to hang out with? I'm like, Shiva. They're like, why do you like to hang out with Shiva? I'm like, he's fucking awesome, bro. Oh my God, this guy's fucking great to hang out, right? So they're like, yeah, he has that effect on you. That's one of his abilities. People want to be more like, they want to be Shiva-like because he's mad chill. It's like what you aspire a man to be, a sacred masculine character, right? They're like, so you hang out with them, right? So you're of the gods, lowercase g's, but all of these in the pantheon. So we make sure your DNA is activated and you're going to learn from the other Christed entities, right?
Absolutely.
So you have all of this in you. That Shiva's an ET. He's like, I'm not from here, but I came here. Well, just like we're all ETs technically, right? In one way or another. But Shiva was like, look at me. I'm like, right. He goes, do I look like I'm from here? I'm like, no, but neither does he. But he has a human body. But you have a human body, but you're blue. We're not from here. We're all ETs. You're the one that's the living library. This 100%. Is why we're here. And I'm like, so it's important for you that I go through this. He's like, I love you, man. Whereas Ra is my father, so I get this fatherly thing. It is important that you're here and the DNA activates. It cleans out the bloodline. Like you're saving every time you heal one of your traumas and you're getting rid of all that karma. You're doing it for all of us.
Oh, 100%.
All the ancestors, forward and future. And then when I met Horus, I called out to Horus for help. Right before I left my last apartment, I was having such an intense psychedelic experience. I didn't know who I was. And I went, Horus, help me. I don't know why I said that. I would never ask for help like that. And then in the fractal, boom, the glass, Horus was there. He was standing there. And I'm like, he goes, what do you want? And I go, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I need your assistance. And then I was focusing on him. I suddenly started feeling fine. And I looked into and he said, I don't think you understand what's happening. You're not a fractal of me, Frank. I'm a fractal of you. And I went, what? And it collapsed and went into me. And it was like my crystal mended. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. They're all here for us. It's 100%. All about us. The whole thing.
It is, man, and you kind of even brought it up, and I'll dive into it a little bit. I'm not going to go into great detail, but yes, there is. So, but no, I'll go into detail. Why not? So there was an experience I had when I was in Captiva, Florida. That was a predecessor to this experience, and this is the biggest last one that just happened, and it was crazy, man. Because so I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you how it all went down. So I go to this island. It's a very remote island in Florida, and I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. But like it was only for like the first couple of days I was there, and then it just weirdly stopped. I'll get to why that was. And so before the whole, I decided, because I had just had my Bufal Various experience the week before. I was like, I want to start facilitating medicines to people. So I flew down to Florida with a half ounce of what I would call some of the most powerful mushrooms I've ever had. It was called the Ghost Strain, and it's crazy, but I remember I was going to facilitate it for my whole family. So I ended up dosing everybody, and I had to help my brother out of a bad trip. He was fighting it. I looked at him, and because I'm his brother, I took his fucking head in his eyes and I pointed him at me, and I said, "Listen, you need to stop fucking fighting it. This is why this is happening. You're fighting it. Just let it go." And he's a father, and he had the kids with him, and he had the dog and the cats. He's all worried about that. And I sat there. I'm like, Ian, the kids are in their rooms fucking playing video games. The cats and the dogs are sleeping on the fucking back porch. Let go. And I kind of waved my hand in front of his face, and he like immediately let it go. But nonetheless, what happened was before this whole experience, there were low-flying Blackhawks all over the island, man, like weirdly. And there was tons of them. And then I'm sitting on a sun deck with my mom, and where I'm at, man, there was low light pollution, and we're looking up at the stars. I kid you not, Frank, all the stars disappeared in the sky and were replaced by UFOs. And I'm looking up, and I look at my mom because she's tripping too. And I look at her and I said, "You see that, Mom? What do you think those are?" And she was like, "I don't know. Could they be planes?" And I looked at her and said, "Mom, have you ever seen a plane fly like that?" And she was like, "I guess they are what they are." And I said, "Absolutely, they are what they are." And this is where I got pulled down in my bedroom, man. And I got pulled out of this reality into this living ship that was intersecting with the planet at this specific location. And the Elohim were there. And they were like, "Yeah, well, we had to get the mosquitoes to suck your blood to bring it to the Stargate so we could actually come here and talk to you." And I'm like sitting there and I'm like looking at them. I'm like, "Is that why they were eating me up like this? Like, this is why I was getting?" It's like, yeah, it's in your DNA. And that's what we're here to tell you, man. Not only are you Elohim spiritually, you are also Elohim physically. It is in your bloodline. Your mother is of the bloodline. Your brother is of the bloodline. Your nephew is of the bloodline. He goes, "Your father is not." And I was kind of like in a joke. I was like, "Man, thank God," because like I was like, because of the history I got with my dad. I was like, "Man, thank God it's not from him." I was like, that would be weird if it was. And they explained this to me. Is like, this is how you can come here. We put our DNA into everything. And this is what makes star seeds and angel seeds. And, and this is because of us. We took our DNA and we embedded it here. And this is what allows it to happen. And I remember I'm looking at them and I'm just like, and I'm looking at this ship, Frank, and it's alive. It's conscious. And I'm sitting in it and I'm like freaking looking everywhere. And it like swirls up and it's like looking at me and it's like observing me. And I look at them. And I'm like, "Thanks for this. This is part of the remembrance." And they're like, "You're not done remembering yet. There's one last thing." And then I was like, "Okay, cool." So I ended up coming back. And then the big remembrance happened, as you know, last Saturday. But just kind of letting credence to what you said is they are fractals of us. Their blood is definitely in us. We have that bloodline. We are of the bloodline. And that's what makes this possible.
Those Anunnaki that look human, but they're big. Right?
Yep.
With the perfect beards, perfect hair, knotted up and done really good. Dude, I was on a ship with one of these guys. He was huge, really big. It's not even worth me saying he's 20 feet tall. Right? And I said to him, "Hey, man, you look exactly like me and my dad and his brother. Like all of us look alike." Right? I go, and my brother and my grandfather and his brother and his father. And he was like, "Because you're my DNA." I go, no, but you look exactly like me with a beard, but all of us look kind of alike. And he goes, because you're my DNA. And I go, so why'd you leave? He goes, we didn't leave. You keep saying we left, and I'm telling you, I'm right here. Source would never, even the psychedelic doesn't show you anything you don't need. So the fact that he's there is because his DNA is active in you. If you met a robot on planet X and it had a big red eye and it ran over to you and was like, and you're like, oh, the robot's alive. It's alive. Most likely that's you. Most likely that's going to be you. It has something in you is in that. That's why it's there. A lot of these reptilian, when you're like, well, why would the reptilian? Do check your DNA. You got a reptilian brain that activates. That's how they get in. That's how, but see, that's how they get in. I'm going to throw one at you. That's how you get in. We looking at it the wrong way. Once again, I'm not trapped in here with you. We used to think it was a prison planet 20 years ago. And now I'm like, no. You guys are going to unleash even one of us in here. You're all done. Forget it. If it's me, my whole thing will just be making your life miserable. And they were like, oh, go on to the next guy. Just leave him alone because he's a problem. Just go on to the next one. The more you mess with him, the crazier he's going to get because we are protected in a degree.
Oh,
we
absolutely,
are,
man.
right? We're just not free from consequences of certain things. You know, when the
definitely.
reptilian, I think it was episode 9 on my volume 1, episode 9, I believe, was just about the reptilians. And at the time it had just kind of happened and they rolled up on me and they were like, shut your mouth, right? Or everyone in your house is getting it. We might not be able to get to you. We'll get to someone. And I didn't do episode. I did it live and then took it down because I was deathly afraid for everyone around me. I was like, I have little animals and there's little kids in the family and they're like, we'll get anyone. And I was like, okay. And then I waited for a while, like a year. And then I was like, yo, screw these guys. They've interfered more than once since then. I'm going to talk about it again, but I didn't have that episode anymore. It was gone. That was it. It was forever deleted. So I got really mad. There's been points where it's hard for me. Like I was in fear a little bit, but it's a physical thing. Like I'm afraid you're going to hurt someone or do something stupid, but because they're really here. You know, my friends did when they were 16. So this is a very long time ago in Thailand, they drank mushroom shakes and they went out into a field and they were reading from, oh God, the guy that opens Aleister Crowley. They were reading Crowley and they thought that was the thing. And they drew a circle around themselves. They did a little ritual. And then they said a portal opened during the ritual. 2 ETs walked out. And he goes, they were kind of brolic, but not too big. Because they're tall. And we started telling them, you know, oh, we summoned you and whatever. So they got really mad and just walked into the circle and kicked the dirt. And said, you thought an invisible, you drew a circle in the ground and thought that would stop us? We're physical. We're not. Yeah. We're not. We're really here. They're like, tell us what you want or don't ever do this again. Ever. Because you're dialing in and you don't know what you're getting. You're lucky it's us. And they said, we never did it. We never did that again. Ever. No, we didn't do anything like that again. And because they're worried, they're like, yo, it is physical. There's physical beings. They'll just walk in and kick your ass. What if one of them takes you and just walks away with you and boop, you're gone. Now me and Steve are sitting there like, oh, where's Phil?
It was
now what do we do?
Phil just got taken into the portal. That's what happened to Phil.
Ceremonies where we'd have crazy stuff happen in the room. Like things would attack my clients and I would dive on my client to be like, I got you. And then it would just smack me off like, boop, get out of here. You know, I told my wife one day, I said, this thing picked me up and threw me into the wall, wrapped my neck. and put the tentacle in my mouth and was just shaking me violently. And I was like, I couldn't move. I literally couldn't move. And I can see the reality of the two things occurring. Me standing there with just invisible thing in my mouth. And my wife, like, what the hell's going on? And my client in the other room is up against the wall. There's black goo spewing from the whole thing. And she's screaming. And all you hear is, and I go in and it wraps me and just bang, 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 bang against the wall and drops me. My ribs hurt for 2 weeks. I was like, did you see anything? She goes, whatever happened to you? It looked like somebody lassoed you. She told me, like lassoed you, your whole body, and then just went boom, 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 and brought you into the room. And I was like, I had no control over that. So that stuff used to get me scared, because now what do I do for my client? She's literally standing there in a wall made of black goo. But at the same time, I'm recognizing there's nothing in the room happening, but it's fully happening. Like my mind's eye is fully aware of the scenario, and it's physically affecting me. But my physical body
100%.
standing there with someone else in the room just sees the effects happening to me and my client. So I used that stuff scared me, because I'm like, what do I do? These things were slapping me. This thing bit me. I can't bite it back. Like, I don't understand. And they were like, all right, calm down. One thing at a time. And I had to learn. Each thing has its own thing. This is how you handle the Hulk. This is how you handle Wolverine. This is how you handle Doctor Doom. And you have to take those steps. And as a shaman, I needed to go through all that, to the point now I just sit there and go, no problem. Now it's no problem. I sing or whistle and it disappears.
Oh, 100%. We have the ability to do things with our voices too. And that's something I've realized. I wanted to tell you something real quick, and then I want to post a question from a viewer, but I actually got a verbatim reason why the reptiles started coming around and monitoring me more. And that is because I made a very valiant attempt at exposing them in the physical and destroying their plausible deniability. I made a very, let me just say this. I'm not going to go into detail.
They'll fight you for that one, dude. They'll fight you for that.
Yeah. I did something pretty ballsy, and we're going to say this. All I'm going to say is there is a specific fluid of some kind that if they are anywhere in the vicinity of it, they cannot hold their holographic projection. It causes them to fail and reveal themselves. And I decided to run an experiment one day, and I took some of this special liquid, because Denver's full of them. I'm going to tell you that. Denver's full of them. So I got a vial of this liquid, and I was like, let's run an experiment today. Because I had a theory that some of the ones that that people that worked with me were definitely involved in this. So, Frank, I kid you not, these people that day avoided me like the plague. There was one person one of them who I have to talk to on a daily basis. I remember I was walking up to their office. He was like 15 feet away from me. He stepped out of his office and he shot me this look, and he turned around and started walking the other direction. And I was calling his name, and I was like, hey, wait, didn't you see me? Hey. And he just kept going, dude. He kept going, and he went into the stairway and he disappeared. There were people, dude, that were freaking avoiding me all day. And I remember I'm sitting here the whole time as this is happening, dude. I'm like, holy shit. This is working. Like this is literally working. This is making them, like run away, because they know what's going to happen if they get close to me. And that is the big reason why they started watching me more, and they started coming around more and started to mess with me more, because I made that valiant attempt at exposing them like that, dude. Yeah. And they were not happy. Real quick before we go forward, I have from Kelly, aka Lynn, where's the RH negative thing come in?
That's them. That's so according to the Anunnaki guy that looked like me, that's their blood type, right? It's their DNA. That's how it rides in. That's how it's activated. You have it, and then it's just their stuff. It's in you. I saw 23 or 24 different characters They were like, you're the living library, but these active ones and they come out. I'm A negative. I'm like, how is this even possible that I'm able to do all of this stuff and see all of this stuff? They're like, because that's how, but first of all, that's us in you activating the stuff inside of you. You
100%.
do that through the RH negative. Each one has a different thing going on, your own personal individual thing, your own bloodline, your own history, your own. And that's how I saw it. Outside of that, I don't know. And I've always been curious. You know, I know when I was born, my mother had to have a shot and I had to have a shot because we were incompatible at some point or something.
Mhm.
Like when you're born with the negative, my mother was like, man, they gave me a shot. They gave you a shot. She's like, you have it. But that was also if you work backwards through my family, all the characters that were unlocked, whether they're witchers or warriors or just whatever, all had that same exact thing. And it was active to the point it could be during that time period until it landed smack dab in me and I started paying attention to it. And then it just opened like a flower. As soon as you give it attention, I was like, I love you. I love me. I just want to get this thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'll pay attention. I'll activate this in real life. You know, I'll give the plant some water. I'll tell my cat I love her because obviously she loves me and blah, blah, blah. Boom, more. And they said that's come from that. The physical aspect of it is activated inside of you. So I'm like, so I'll be able to do all the things you guys can do. And they're like, you'll be able to do everything that we can all do.
100%.
Big difference. Yes, Anunnaki. Yes, this, yes, that. All of us. Everything. You have the living library and you got to start thinking like the living librarian, bro. Like you can access the whole thing and turn it right on its head.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. Right? And that's why too, like, you know, and that's why you were talking about earlier in the show, how I've been talking about the emanation thing a lot. And it to me, that helps you realize that you are this walking library. You have all of this. You have all of this already within you because, yeah.
Wouldn't the solidification of that juice energy be what holds the emanation together and makes it so powerful and potent? Is the fact that it comes from that line. Like I'm beginning to see it. Like it's both relevant. It's like, yeah, you got to have this and it activates that and it holds this into place. This piece holds that. And then you're physically manifesting it right in the spot. Right. So because they left, they're like, you think we're powerful. All the beings connected to me, like when you think I'm powerful, you should see you.
100%.
You have no idea. So when I'm talking to Ra and he's like trying to help me, he knows when he lets me off the leash, kind of like, hey, you know, you can do that. And I'm like, I can. And he's like, all right, calm down. Right? Like, get ready because you're the boss. And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know that yes, you're more than all of us. When I asked to see Zeus, I asked 2 times. First time, they said, what do you want to see him for? And I said, I don't know. Just thought Zeus. All right, forget it. I don't want to see him. You know what? I don't want to meet nobody. How's that sound? The second time I said, geez, I said, Paula has like this I was looking at my wife and she was turning into the universe. And then I go, I wonder where Zeus is in that. And then it was a joke. It didn't come off right. And then she goes, you want to see Zeus? You want Zeus? There he is right there. And it was this little dot. And all these little dots were all creator beings. And then all of it collapsed into my wife. And then they're like, you still want to meet Zeus? And I'm like, wait. All of that, all those lowercase deities and everything else in the multiverse, universals, everything just collapsed into her. So she has all of that in there. And they were like, yeah. So I'm like, so what does Zeus have to do with any of this? And they were like, nothing. He's just a guy. And I'm like, are you kidding? They're like, you guys are so much bigger than these characters. You have no idea that if you stop thinking of some of these guys, they're going to stop existing. That's how powerful you are. And I'm like, whoa, wait, what? They're like, you got to learn.
I'm telling you. No, I'm telling you, man, and that's the truth. Because, and this is, this even goes down to the saying, and that we've all heard time and time again: "Know thyself, and you will know the divine." And that is deep on many levels. And one thing I wrote down, I want to talk to you about real quick before we kind of wind down for tonight. I'm going to go back to your fire incident real quick that you were talking about with your wife. One of the things in that story that was really profound to me is you laid out the symbolic nature of this existence. And what I mean by that is, we were talking about the fire, and how you repelled the fire, and how you, and I mean, you didn't mean to repel it onto your wife, but you repelled it, working with that element. I saw a lot of symbolism in that.
I
What
think
I mean
my
by
wife took the shot for him. That's how I see it, because she's super nice. She was on their side of the fire, but over to the side. And I said, even my wife would jump in front of a punch if I try to knock him the fuck out right now. She would just jump in front of the punch as well. So we can't act like that.
No, for real. And like, no, I get it. And but like you kind of brought up, I mean, when we look at what fire is, I mean, it's it's a cleansing, it's a calcination. And you were in
It's
that
truth. It's fucking truth.
It is. It's the truth. It's knowledge. And like, well, so one of the things I want to actually kind of pick your brain on before we head out for the night is, I'm a huge believer that symbolism is definitely a prime language of this existence. And I mean, a good example of this is, when the universe, or the divine and source, it communicates to us in many different ways. It will communicate with us literally, but it also can communicate with us in a symbolic way. It can communicate with us through situations, scenarios, feelings, things like that. I mean, a good example of this too is what I tell people is when you go to take a shower, right? Yes, you are cleaning yourself physically, but you're also cleaning yourself energetically when you go and you take a shower. Same thing when you let's say you're going to the bathroom, right? And yep, you're disposing yourself of waste that you no longer need, but also in the symbolic fashion, you're disposing yourself of energies and negativity that you no longer need. One of the things I've come to see is that this is intertwined. This is almost a language of some sort that is to be deciphered in our spiritual evolution as we grow and we evolve. And ultimately, I think this is where the divine places the most communication with us, is within this symbolism. And I want to ask you your experiences with it. Yeah.
Then the negative will be drawn to the negative. So if you're full of shit, literally, it will connect to that. So if you don't go to the bathroom, beware, because the demon lurks, because that's where they're going to connect to. I haven't gone in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, well, you better start going. I go 3 times a day. You better clear everything out, son. Right? You better clear your kidneys, your liver, your functions, everything, because that's where they're connecting. You don't take a shower and you don't clean that off. Anything that's infectious or bacterium of any kind or parasitic in nature gets attached to the parasite. I'm convinced that parasites are demons in the physical, but demons will attach to those who have heavy amounts of parasites and heavy metals and get in there and scream, "We are legion," because you have 1,000 parasites in you.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those could be entered. So when you're like, you think you're up against an army, and it's an invisibly small army, a micro army that takes on the macro. And we're like, oh gosh, it's so big. So the more in fear we are, the more parasitic activity goes off, and the more they feed and the more function they get. And when you remove that and you shower and you clean your insides and your outsides, and you put out some good love into the world, and you ground yourself, they can't connect to nothing. You just build an impenetrable force field, right? That's all you're doing. Your aura creates, once it lights up, it's impenetrable. If you don't want it to be penetrated, you'd be like, nah, I don't think so. Just like that, boom, whatever it is stops. Pull that out, remove this, get this out. It happens just like that. My wife used to tell me it takes a minute right now, but it takes a minute because in the beginning it takes a minute, and then it takes a moment, and then it's second nature. And then you're like, I don't
yes.
know how it's done because I breathe. I just breathe. I just like it gets so easy and just becomes part of it. New routine, new memory, new stacking of DNA activations, right? This is all still an experiment. And all of these things are happening at
Absolutely.
once. So you're getting the whole shebang is real. And we're trying to filter it out and go, well, we got UFOs. Those are obviously something's going on. But Bigfoot, I think that's kind of bullshit. It's like, no, dude, there's Bigfoot and there's UFOs.
Bigfoot's definitely, dude. I'm telling you, Bigfoot's definitely a thing, man. And I
It's a
actually,
joke because I think they call it Bigfoot. So we're like, oh, big feet, oh, teddy bears and shit. So it becomes part of our lore that way instead of what it is. Like they make it Harry and the Hendersons instead of being like, this is what exists alongside of us. And we're busy
100%.
arguing, fighting over the 2 or 3 or 5 or 100. No, mine's real, but that's not real. Obviously, the Galactic Federation doesn't exist, but demons are real. Everything's a demon. Everything's an angel.
You can't pick and choose, man.
All real.
It's all real. It's all real. No, I actually, before we went off, I wanted to tell you actually my one experience with where I did see a Bigfoot, it was actually interesting. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the book called Missing 411. It's about people disappearing in the national parks,
National forest, right?
Yeah. So I found this one story at this place out here called Mountain of the Holy Cross, and this dude was walking through on the Mountain of the Holy Cross, and he walked through this mist, and then he went into this landscape that looked completely different from where he just came from, and there were these little people there. And they were trying to get him to drink the beer that they had. And I remember that he said there was a voice in his head that said, don't drink that beer, you'll be stuck here. And immediately he ended up turning around and running right through the mist. And then the mist took him out to where his car was and not on the trail. So you know me, fuck around and find out. This is about an hour and a half away. I'm like, yo, we're going. So we go out there, right? And we get there, and we had 3 collective experiences while we were out there. The first one is this. Now, mind you, we're in the middle of the wilderness, dude. There are no homes for like 60, 70 miles. And this trail is very, very sparsely populated. We probably only ran into like, I want to say 8 people the whole time we were on there. So we're walking, man, and we start hearing a metal chime noise. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, and I look over at my wife and I'm like, do you hear that? And she's like, yeah, I hear that. And I'm like, what is that? And she was all like, well, maybe somebody's marking their weed grow. I'm like, no, that's stupid, because anytime the wind blows, somebody's going to find your weed. I'm like, this is something else. And like, that was the first thing we talked about, because I was in my mind, like I started getting a little bit rational. I'm like, there is no way that sound could travel that far through a mountainous valley and not dissipate before it hits us. So experience number 1. Second experience was the Sasquatch experience. So we're walking up on the mountain, and it's about like, I want to say a football field and a half away, there's another peak. And we see what looks like a black bear. At first, we thought it was a black bear. And I'm like looking at that, and I'm like, man, that is a huge black bear. Do you see that? I mean, look at how big that is. And like, I'm showing my wife. And then the minute I say that, this thing gets up on fucking 2 legs, and I'm fucking starts walking away. And I'm like looking at them, and I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me, and we're both like, whoa, dude, that thing's got to be at least 10, 12 feet fucking tall. Yeah, and it's walking away like a human. And I was like, that's wild. And then the third thing that happened, which was kind of interesting too, the trail completely disappeared, Frank. So we were using All Trails to hike it, and it gives you like a dedicated layout. And I'm like looking at All Trails, and I'm like looking up. I'm like, well, on All Trails, it says the path continues here, but there's no more path. And at that minute, I got like this message from my guides, like, look, you've seen enough. You need to turn around and you need to get off this mountain. And I was like, okay, heard. So we ended up turning around and walking off the mountain. But I swear, dude, like that was them being like, listen, dude, you don't want to walk through the mist. Okay. We're going to protect you from walking through the mist. That's not for you at this point in time.
Just
But yeah,
like the
man.
mist, you walk into the mist, or the mist has the realm in it. The accessible to access it, you have to walk into it, the mist itself.
Mhm.
Like a dimensional portal vibe.
It is. It is. Yeah. Very, very much so like that, man. And we didn't see the mist, but like I know I just thought it was so crazy that the trail just up and vanished. We heard this chiming noise and we saw something that I thought was a black bear, and then it got up on freaking two
Yeah,
legs and
that'll
started
scare
walking
the
away
shit
like
out of you.
I was like, but dude, I'm thankful it was a football field and a half away on another mountain peak, dude. Because as soon as it got up, I was like, it's like that thing's huge, dude. I was like, it's got to be at least 10, 12 feet tall. Gotta
Yeah.
be, like, just from the way it looked from that distance. But nonetheless, Frank, man, much love, dude. This was a fucking awesome time.
Dude, I still
And
have chills, man.
I know, dude. It was an awesome time, man. And yes, no, dude, we did not get too weird or anything, man. The audience actually loves you. I'm sure you're gonna have some new subscribers and followers after this. And other than that, man, I just want to say, just for the record, how much I appreciate you, dude. Like, I seriously do.
Dude, I love you.
You
You're the best.
I love you too, man, dude. You are like literally that's why, man. You and I are very much alike in the fact that we fucking walk into war, guns blazing, and we're fucking like, let's go.
Yeah.
Nothing can touch us. We are source beings. We're these angelic beings emanating into this reality. We understand that we stand in our power. And that's ultimately what shifts the reality. Once you stand in your power and you command the control, which is yours, that is what causes the shift within you to understand and to cultivate the understanding of the fact that you are everything that is, was, or ever will be. Everything is located within you. Every bit of knowledge, every deity, the energy of every deity is within your blood. It's within your bones. It's within your energy. All right. And never forget that, guys. And that's going to be the lesson for the end of this show is I'm going to say, stand in your power. Don't forget it. We are the reset here. Okay. We are. Okay. Not their reset. We're the reset. And this is the thing we have to hold with us, guys. Our presence here is resetting the foundation of this reality. And we cannot forget it. Of course, I always do Frank right. I have his YouTube channel and I have the I Am We Are Fearless website in both the descriptions of the Rumble and the YouTube video. But Frank, if you got any, Sons of Sun too. If you've got anything else that you're working on and that you want, or anywhere else anybody can find you and you want to let them know, now is the time.
So check it out. New Sons of the Sun's music, Off to Be the Wizard, has been released. It's about a month old.
Nice.
It's out there right now circulating. Off to Be the Wizard, Sons of the Sun. So it's about the experience of taking on the mushroom trip and how it's really the path to becoming the wizard.
Dude, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to listen to that one because I have not heard that one yet.
Come join us.
Dude, I am joining you, man, for sure, dude. And of course, dude, support Sons of the Sun. And the reason why I'm saying this, guys, like I said at the beginning, this is New Earth Entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Frank is making music that's not bombarding you with ELFs, subconscious initiations, propaganda, any kind of negative. Frank's creating light music, bro.
Dude, me and Kev input the frequency. It's high frequency, futuristic nostalgia, sounds and effects that will bring you up to the high frequency, with a positive balance, with still all the information, all the good stuff and all the crazy stuff and the fun stuff in music. But the message is there and it's embedded in it and it will bring you up. It will bring you up. And just check it out. If you like, subscribe, share, and let us know what you think. That 5D flavor right?
Absolutely, dude. Well, this is what
Super
this
high
is.
frequency.
Well, because it's absolutely amazing to me, dude, because this is how it begins. Okay. This is how we start setting the foundation for the new earth frequency and new earth entertainment. And I get that from a lot of people when I talk about I was like, we need to disconnect from this false reality completely. And they're like, well, what are we not allowed to laugh? Not allowed to do this? And like, oh, dude, I got you, bro. There are people out there. There are conscious comedians. There are conscious musicians. There are conscious filmmakers, bro.
Yeah, the laughter doesn't stop at all.
Doesn't stop at all, man. That's what I mean. Doesn't stop. We got
you can be spiritual and be foul mouthed and funny.
Dude, we both are. But we have conscious people creating entertainment for New Earth, guys. So then that's why I say go support Frank and the Sons of the Sun. Go support David the Lion. Support Kelly T, aka Lynn. She's in the chat with Divine Creation Gifts. And other than that, guys, Frank, if you can hang out for a couple minutes after we get off, you know what we say here, everybody. Oh, you haven't heard my new intro yet. You're gonna love it. But you know what we say here, everybody. Stay safe, stay free. Have that personal agency and that personal sovereignty. And for the love of God, stay away from the Japanese sex robots. How many times do I have to say this? Stay away from Japanese grok too. For the love of God. Take care, everyone.
Go.
Let's go. Have a good night, everyone.
Collectively together, you were born to rotate with the crowd. You were born to sync with the sacred spiral. The Hercules stream is proof. The cosmos hummers the divergent. BG-S3-34 brings us that Hercules energy. It's here to save the day. You won't stay lost in the dark. Here is your shot with BG kept beside you. Can we rise alone?